WNDS Sports and Tri-State Megabucks present Candlepin Skins. It's bowling with a whole new twist as New England's best bowlers battle for cash prizes in every box. Candlepin Skins is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome again to the Londonderry Bowling Center here in Londonderry, New Hampshire. Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy. Happy you could join us for another episode of Candlepin Skins. And, boy, it's becoming a habit for Bob Mazur and for Rich Lotti. They have dominated this series. Rich about to make his fifth straight appearance, and for Bob Mazur, his fourth.
Yeah, they got that down. The skins, another thing, but they got that down. And that, well, last week, Rich Lotti did collect a few skins too, but they're bowling real well, and that's why they're here.
And they will be joined today by our two incoming competitors from Manchester, New Hampshire, John Plante, and from Amesbury, Massachusetts, Dennis Shute. And, of course, as we always do here at the beginning of the program, we want to acquaint you once again with the rules of Candlepin Skins, and here to interpret them for you is our own Dan Murphy.
Okay, bowlers compete individually, one box at a time. High box wins the skins and the dollar value assigned to that box. Skins, of course, carry over with ties, and that's what we like as well as the bowlers. And, of course, the top two pinfall totals come back next week. And now we'll switch right to the boxes. Boxes 1, 2, and 3 are worth $10. 4, 5, and 6 are $15. 7, 8, and 9 are $25, and the all-important 10th frame is worth $50.
And it doesn't take long for it to carry over and build up, and we've had some pretty sizable carryovers, $100 and better the last several weeks. We're going to see if Bob Mazur and Rich Lotti can keep it rolling here. Dennis Shute and John Plante will try and prevent it. We'll be back on Candlepin Skins to start the match after these messages. Well, as we said, this is getting to be a habit. Rich Lotti to start the show here on Candlepin Skins.
Wow, that's a change.
Oh, big first ball.
And start he does. Leaves just the 4-pin.
Dennis Shute.
Just the 5-pin.
Spare for Rich Lotti. Spare for Dennis Shute. And we're underway. $10 opening box here. And now John Plante.
Well, off the head pin, but just the 1 and 2 pins left. Bob Mazur, a mess.
Oh. Almost for John.
Almost not for Bob Mazur.
Now we're going to have a carryover here in the first box with the spares from Rich Lotti and Dennis Shute. John with 9, Bob with 7. And on the scoreboard, you notice Dennis Shute, he actually does go by Denny, so that's what's showing on the scoreboard.
That on a spare. Rich Lotti for his fill. And he gets one more. Both not too pleased with their fills.
No marks this time for these two. Dennis with 7. And Rich with 10. But the fills hurt. Bob Mazur, 4th week in a row. He won the recent roll-off to get into this position, and he's been in this last position, the 4th position on the scoreboard, ever since, and he's taken advantage of it with 2 wins and a second-place come-from-behind finish last week. No spare. John Plante to win the skin. He's got it. $20 skin for John. And Bob Mazur will take the 9. Rich Lotti with a split. Dennis Shute with a spare lead.
Yeah, the 5-9 for Dennis. 2, 4, and 7 for Rich. Got a shot. Oh,
nope.
Not quite.
And Denny Shute gets his spare. 9 bucks for Rich Lotti. If Rich Lotti were to finish first or second today, he would set a record for consecutive appearances on Candlepin Skins next week with 6. He joins this week Bob Kelly and Neil Goslin as the only bowlers to make 5 consecutive appearances.
John Plante, big 9 drop on the spare.
Bob Mazur going the stamp and stomp route, and it's not working for him. 2 shots at a halved skin here, though. Ooh, John Plante misses his. Bob Mazur does not miss, and that will carry over the skin. John settles for 9. The spares for Dennis Shute and Bob Mazur carry over, and we move to a $25 skin here in the 4th. Tomorrow at noon, here on the Winds, Bob Kelly and Tom Morgan. Should be a great match. 2 terrific bowlers, a left-hander and a right-hander, for our series championship on Stars and Strikes and a spot in the Tournament of Champions.
Oh, great shot by Dennis Shute.
2 in a row. Not quite for Rich. He'll take 8. So the spare is up for Dennis, and here's how he did it.
Splits the 3 and the 6. 3-pin comes in contact with the wood in front of the 7 and 8 and clears those 2 out of there.
Oh, good first ball for Bob Mazur. No touch on the 4-pin.
A piece of wood was coming. A second piece kind of swung it around, directed it away from the 4-pin.
Well, it's a 9 on the fill for Bob. Both guys with spare leaves. That will have the skin. John Plante with the wood in front, in play, and he goes right by it. Great shot for John Plante. So 3 spares up in that 4th box. We have another carryover, and the 5th box will be worth $40. Rich Lotti.
Oh, wow. 7-10. Nothing touched either one of them. Came close to it.
Denny Shute fills his spare with 8. Oh, had the ball flying over toward the 10-pin, but it didn't carry. And Dennis a little too fine on that shot. 10 for Rich Lotti. 9 for Dennis Shute.
Well, 10 box leads for the skin. John Plante will fill a spare, as will Bob Mazur.
John to go first. John with just 5. Bob Mazur with 8. Spare could win the skin here for Bob. Would win it, and he does. Bob Mazur wins the skin with the spare for $40. John Plante finishes with a 9 box. And we have come to our first break. And guess what? Just like last week, the scores are very tight. Bob Mazur takes that skin in the 5th, and we will be back on Candlepin Skins in a minute. This is Dennis Shute, and he is tied for second at the moment with John Plante. This is a $15 skin here in the 6th, and Rich Lotti almost sprays them all.
Dennis missing the head pin to the right, so got a little work to do, and Rich, sliding by on the left.
Nine for Dennis. 10 for Rich Lotti. Bob Mazur.
Oh, wow, that was a full hit, too. He just blew out 9 of them, leaving just the 4-pin.
And that was on a spare.
That's right. This to make it 4 in a row.
Oh. No. 10 is still a good score for the skin right now. Unless somebody can have it. Bob Mazur would appear to have the best chance. And he does. And it's just a 6 box for John Plante, so this will be a carryover skin. The 7th box will be worth $40. Rich Lotti sitting in 4th place right now. Well, last time it was the 7. This time it's the 7-10 for Rich with wood.
And the 6-7 for Dennis Shute. Rich has got a shot at this.
Yep, there you go.
The wood was angled just perfectly.
Not as good a chance for Dennis Shute. Unable to carry it over for the 7. $10.
Gives him 80 through 7, and you can see Rich Lotti is 70 through 7 plus the bonus. John and Bob yet to bowl the 7th frame.
Oh, first strike of the day.
And
it goes to John Plante.
John has bowled the 7th frame now.
Do it! And he has won the skin. $40.
Bob puts the spare up.
And here's a look at John Plante's skin-winning strike. Box number 8 worth $25 here. Spread eagle for Dennis Shute.
Push it. Hey, Rich.
Rich Lotti, no. Cannot make the single. It's the second one he's missed. Last time it was the 7-pin, this time the 4. He'll take a 10 box, just a 6 box for Dennis Shute. Bob Mazur working on a spare here. And fills it with 9.5.
Turned that 7-pin right around on its spot. And that's almost a double strike for John Plante.
Another spare for Bob Mazur. He has just been a spare machine the last 3 or 4 weeks. And a spare for John Plante.
To have the skin.
moving us to the 9th box worth $50 now. Yeah, that'll be a strike for Rich Lotti. Won't have to worry about the single pin this time.
Come on.
Almost. Denny Shute. Got to watch out for the double wood, and he negotiates it perfectly for the spare.
They're in 9th.
Here's Rich Lotti's strike. Kicks out that 4-pin. His first strike of the day.
John Plante working on a series of 2 marks, strike and spare, and this is the fill, and
Oh. Well, that'll be Rich Lotti's $50 skin in the 9th. His first of the day. Spare for John Plante, his 3rd mark in a row. And how about it for Bob Mazur? Almost. Wow. $10 instead. Three marks up in the 9th. It's a $50 10th box.
Dennis Shute first. He's working on a spare. Rich Lotti trying to make it 2 strikes in a row. Looks pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think he's a little angry about missing those singles. What do you think? 2 huge strikes in a row for Rich Lotti. And there's 2 spares in a row for Dennis Shute. Let's look at this strike by Rich Lotti. I don't know if we can slow this one down. Wow. So they both have to stay up there to fill marks in the 10th. Dennis Shute first. 9 fill, 121. Rich Lotti looking for the turkey. And he'll take a 9 fill. Boy, Rich Lotti was at 89 through 8. He finishes at 134. That's a pretty good makeup.
A lot of pins in those last 2 boxes. 45 to be exact.
And he may win this skin unless somebody can have it with a strike. Bob Mazur can't. Can John Plante? No. So it's another $50 for Rich Lotti. The last 3 skins that have been won with strikes.
There it is.
Tell you what, these scores are going to be very close too. After the first game, 10 for John Plante. He's at 132. Bob Mazur finishes at 136. Rich Lotti at 134, so 3 of them just 4 pins apart, and Denny Shute not that far behind at 121. We got a second game still to go here on Candlepin Skins. Well, 3 of our 4 bowlers are on the board with skins prize money. Rich Lotti leading the way with $100. John Plante and Bob Mazur have also registered skins. And as we start game 2 with Rich Lotti, guess what? Bob Mazur and Rich Lotti are running 1-2 in pinfall, but not by much. Pretty good battle going here right now. Half Worcester to start game 2. This is a $10 skin. And Rich is still working here.
So like Rich struggles and struggles and struggles, and then all of a sudden he finds the timing, and boy, when he starts putting the numbers up, they can get up there in a hurry.
8. Next week here on Candlepin Skins, the 2 survivors from this match will join 2 bowlers coming in from a brand new roll-off, and we don't know who that will be just yet.
Chances are it won't be you and I.
Pretty good chance of that. Of course, tomorrow we'll have our series championship match for singles with Bob Kelly and Tom Morgan. 9 for Dennis Shute. You heard somebody say you're in the lead. John Plante now. John misses the head pin.
But not a bad lead. The 1, 2, 4.
Nope.
It's the 1 and the 4 leaves the 2. This to take the lead for the skin. 8, 9, and will John make it 10?
Yes.
And now, of course,
An 11.
spare.
Oh, an 11.
Yeah, there you go.
Bob Mazur. Oh, how about a strike? That's good enough to win $10. That's Bob's first strike of the day. $10 for 10 pins. That's Bob's first skin of the day. Oh, no, I take it back. He already had 3 skins for $40.
All right, back on it. At 10. All right, big out.
Rich with another 8.
All right, Danny. Oh, wow.
8s probably aren't good enough. What do you think?
I don't believe so.
We have had a skin 1 with a 9. Never anything lower.
There will be a day, though, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Triangle for Dennis.
Dennis would love to pick up a mark here. He's in 4th position.
3, 5, and 6.
Get out.
No. Dennis Shute from Amesbury, Mass. Works as a draftsman for AT&T Technologies. Does a lot of his bowling at Park Place Lanes in Wyndham,
All right.
as well as at the Lafayette Lanes.
Got him up next left. Got him up next time.
And he takes another 9. Oh my, the 1-5.
I'd say he's a little full with that ball.
Just a tad.
Oops.
And just 5. Well, it's all there for Bob Mazur. He can win the skin with a 10 this time. He's working on a strike, remember, to try and extend his lead. It's an 8 fill.
Well, 1 to have the skin, 2 to get the skin himself.
You saw Bob took a look at the scoreboard.
Yeah. What is up there? It's a 9, Bob.
Get it.
He got it. Big $10 shot for Bob Mazur there. The 1 and the 7. He's got a smile for that one. Well, maybe in some small way that makes up for some of the days he hasn't been able to win much money. Rich Lotti thought he had a half Worcester. He gets 2 more.
All right, show us a pretty one, Rick.
How would you approach this whole format if you were bowling in it? Would you do anything differently, do you think?
No, I don't think so. Well, you can't say that. I think the first...
You look at the scoreboard a lot more, I know that.
Yeah, you still got to shoot for marks. I think the one who does the most thinking or the strategist probably is the last bowler up there, especially when you have no mark. It might, you know, if somebody's got a 9 box, it might just change the way you play that last ball.
There you go, Danny.
Dennis Schute's going to shoot at the 5 and 8.
Dennis needs a mark. Break the jam here, and he does. Also trying to come up from 4th position. This is a $10 skin rather here in the 3rd. John Plante off target.
And Dennis does not have a skin yet, does he?
That's correct. Doesn't have a strike yet either, but he does have 6 spares. Oh, John was a little off target to the left that time. Had some wood protruding out from behind the head pin, and that one he dropped, but he got a 9 box.
There you see the score is very close.
Well, Dennis Schute's spare is good right now as Bob Mazur steps up. No, Bob pulled that one a little bit. But let's see, with the wood there, you got to keep him in this shot, the 1-8.
Yeah, if the ball's to the left of the head pin, the wood will keep the head pin in play for the 8.
No. So Dennis Shute on the board. And a 9 for Bob Mazur. Well, not only does Dennis get the skin there, but he marks and no one else does. And that's good for his...
total pinfall.
That's
sure.
right. Good to help him make up some ground here. See, Rich Lotti has made his skins count. He's won just 3, but he's got $100.
Oh, got a good break
Wow.
coming back on the 2-pin. And look at this setup, the 3, 6, and 10, and a nice piece of wood out in front.
Well, that looks a lot better than 3 straight 8 boxes for Rich Lotti as he ends that streak. Puts the mark up there. Dennis Shute now on his spare. He's in the Brooklyn pocket and a possible shot at another one here with an 8 drop. No, yes, with the ball. Oh, didn't think he was going to get it. Thought maybe the wood would cost him. But watch the ball. Over to the left side wall and back.
And I looked away. I saw the ball halfway down. I put the spare down. And John, a little off target. 4 horsemen right plus the 9-pin.
Nope, off target. Missed the head pin. And again for an 8 box for John. Well, right now it is still Bob Mazur and Rich Lotti running 1 and 2. But Dennis Shute is not far behind, and neither is John Plante. Well, this will be a carryover skin. Spares for Rich Lotti and Dennis Shute, creating the carryover. Bob Mazur will be open. That will tighten things up a little bit more. $9 box for Bob.
There you see it, 15 pins separating top to bottom.
5th box worth $30. Rich Lotti working on a spare. Rich has had a very funny match, this match. He marked in the first box, had a 3 on it. Then he went 5 boxes in a row without marking. He missed a couple of singles. Then he threw a double strike to end the first game. And then he threw 3 8 boxes to start this second game, and now he's got 2 straight marks. Feast or famine.
Well, and his Schute's got to try to keep pace. He's at 167 in a ball. Looks good.
Oh, he got a big break there.
Ball was right in the pocket.
He deserved this leave, you're right, but he got a break because it was a thin hit to start.
Hang on.
Got it. 9 and another for Dennis Shute, as Rich Lotti did.
Strike will win the skin.
John Plant. John living in Manchester, New Hampshire now. Works for Capital Credit Corporation. Also does a lot of his bowling at Park Place Lanes. And we'll be there tomorrow for Candlepin Stars and Strikes at noon here on the Winds of New England. John Plant makes it 3 spares in a row in this box. And now Bob Mazur. Well, I tell you what, if Bob doesn't spare here, he could fall from 1st to 4th very easily.
He's got the triangle 2, 4, 5, and 10.
Nope. It's another carryover, obviously, so when we come back, we'll have a $60, make it a $45 skin. It's a 9-box for Bob Mazur, and check out these scores. Now, keep in mind, Rich, Dennis, and John each have marks up. Bob Mazur does not, but look at how close those scores are. Just 14 pins now separating 1st and 4th. We'll be back in a jiff. Rich Lotti on 2 consecutive spares here. As we go to the 6th box, worth $45.
Well, we got away with that one. It's to the right, almost the half Worcester, but instead, 7-pin drop, the 1, 2, 7 pins left. For 2 in a row, 3 in a row, I should say. No.
And the 10. Tell you, we've had some terrific matches these last few weeks. Just going right down to the final box, sometimes with 3 or more bowlers involved. Dennis Shute on a mark. He fills with 8. He's looking for his 4th in a row.
This would set himself up to possibly take over the overall lead if he could take out the 2 and the 4.
Got it.
4 in a row. He's at 204 also, but he will be working on that spare.
John Plant, a little thin, looking for the 10-pin to go out. It won't. That was also on a spare, a fill of 6. Let's see if he can fly the ball off this left piece of wood. Well, it didn't exactly fly, but it went over and took out the 10-pin. Kind of just rolled over there.
Well, you called it. Bob Mazur, if he doesn't mark, he could go from 1st to last.
Ooh, he almost
did you
won the
see
skin
that?
with a strike. Instead, it'll be another carryover. But Bob needs a mark.
Right, this is an important shot for Bob.
Oh, and he's right on it. So 3 more spares in that box by the bowlers, and it's another carryover. Box number 7 will now be worth $70. As this match gets closer and closer. Rich Lotti off the head pin, but not a bad break.
1, 2, and 4.
Yes.
Well, he's made some clutch marks the past several weeks going down the stretch.
He seems to bowl his best when he needs to bowl well.
Dennis Schute's got a streak of 4 consecutive spares.
He'll carry 6 on the fill.
4 horsemen right. Needs this to create a possible carryover.
No. Ends the string of marks at 4. Dennis has 9 marks in the match, all spares. Hits the 10. He's at 99 through 7. As you see, he's in the overall lead right now, but Rich Lotti has a spare working. John Plant, looked like he dropped that one a little bit. That was on a spare, a 6-fill.
Oh, 4-7, 6-10. Piece of wood in front of the 6-10, also one just to the left.
No, that's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to hit the piece of wood in front of the 6-10, but he wanted to hit it as far left as he could. Just went too far left. Something like that. Well, it wasn't there anyway, apparently. A 7-box. Bob Mazur working on a spare. If he throws a strike, it'll be a $70 skin. Spare would have it. If not, Rich Lotti will take it. Oh, just a 1 fill.
It's not a strike. In fact, it's almost to the other. extreme. Oh, he comes right back.
That was the strike ball.
That is a carryover and a well-deserved one.
Oh, what a shot. That's a strike right there with a full rack up there. Oh, but will the 1 fill be costly? That's the question now. So now, this 8th box is worth $95. And
Ooh.
What a bizarre hit that is by Rich Lotti on a spare fill, just 3.
Real light, and you get no pin mixing at all. Just the 3.
Oh, he almost converted it. Well, I defy anybody to predict what's going to happen in this match, the last 3 boxes. This match has that kind of air about it with weird things happening, and who knows?
And the scores are close.
This is a 5-box carryover right now. First one of those we've had in a long while.
Now, Dennis will shoot at the 1, 3, and 7. Piece of wood behind the 1 and the 3 should help him with the 7. First order of business, catch that head pin.
This will help his cause. He's in 2nd place right now. And he's got it, just reaching down into the corner to tap the 7-pin. Watch how little the 7-pin is touched, right there.
See, that piece of wood actually was turned and it went by the 7-pin. It was the head pin, I think, that finally took the 7-pin.
John Plant.
John needs a mark badly.
Hi, John.
Especially coming off a 7-box.
Get in there.
Ooh, looked pretty good when he let it go. And just a 7 again, 2nd in a row. That could spell trouble for John Plant.
Yep, Bob Mazur working on a spare.
Six fill.
3, 6, 10 with the 4-pin.
Bob is still running in 3rd place right now, though. He needs more marks in order to continue his streak. Can't get this one. And that gives the skin $95 to Dennis Shute. $10 for Bob Mazur. And let's see what we have here with 2 boxes to go. 5 pins between 1st and 3rd place. And John Plant looks like he might be in double strike territory. The 9th box worth $25. Rich Lotti.
Well, 3, 6, 10 and the 7-pin. This would in between the 6 and 10.
Can he snap it over? Yeah. Oh, my.
Tell ya. Oh, Rich is tough in the clutch.
What a great shot.
Yeah, Dennis Shute working on a spare, and you can't afford to let up.
Looks like he dropped that one a bit.
He did. Just the 4 fill.
All right, John.
Uh-oh. Can't afford a bad box. Bob Mazur chasing him. And it's a 7. 120 through 9. So a good mark would put Bob back in second place. John Plante needs strikes. Doesn't get it. At the very least, he needs a spare. Not happening for John today. Had 5 marks in the first game, a 132, but it's been a struggle in this second game. An 8 for 86. Bob Mazur now, big box for Bob.
Oh, again, he goes full, but he leaves just the 4-7. And a piece of wood in front of it, a much-needed mark.
Could it be Rich Lotti and Bob Mazur again? Could happen. Spare in the 9th for Bob. That halves the skin, so our last skin of the day will now be worth $75 as we move to the 10th.
Here you see it.
Wow.
Rich trails Denny by 4 pins and leads Bob by 2.
Oh, great shot by Rich Lotti. 9 drop leaves the 5-pin. Yes, sir.
I don't expect him to miss this.
He missed 2 singles in the first game, but since then he's been very sharp. In the early part of this game, when he had those 3 8-boxes, he really didn't have much to shoot at.
Now let's put the race down to between Denny and Bob Mazur for second place.
Rich will take everything he can get here on this fill. It'll be 6, 128, and a 2-game total of 262. So as you see, Denny Shute at 241. He would need a double strike to catch Rich, and Bob Mazur's still on a spare, so he could do some damage.
He would have to put a mark up. I would believe Denny would have to put one up. Now he's going to have a shot at one, the 3 and the 9, and let's see if the wood settles down. That second piece could be crucial. Yeah, that turned everything around for him. Makes the shot a lot easier. He's got to have the 3-pin.
So you see the bowlers in the background. They're all checking the scoreboard. Let's see what's happening here. Spare for Dennis Shute. We could have a carryover in our last skin in addition to everything else, but right now the match is the important thing, with Dennis Shute showing 6 spares in the last 8 boxes.
Needs a big fill.
Just misses the head pin. He will take just 5. 135 and a 2-game total of 256. Now remember, Bob Mazur is at 235, but he's working on a spare. First, John Plante.
Then he needed a few more on that to make Bob Mazur mark again.
Bob Mazur needs just 121 in this game.
So as long as he doesn't make a mistake on that first ball, he should be in.
10 for John. He wraps up the day at 228. Not enough to be coming back.
Of course, a strike for Bob Mazur would not only get him back next week, but he'd win the skin. That's going to bring him back next week, and almost a strike.
9 Phil will have a carryover for the last $75, and that ball did it. Oh, Bob misses the spare. Wait a minute here. It's tied right now. Needs this pin to get it, and he's got it. He needed that pin to finish second, or did he?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He had to have the mark. Beg your pardon. Well, it got very, very tight there down at the end. The scores were close. Bob Mazur comes short by missing the single. The pinfall is decided. It'll be Rich Lotti and Denny Shute coming back.
He beat him. He beat him by.
Oh, wait. Okay, we do have an improper score on the computer. Okay, so we were right. Bob Mazur is at 121, and we will check the computer and get back and settle that last skin, too, after this break. All right, as we come back here on Candlepin Skins, the computer score is now corrected for Bob Mazur. There had been an error back in the first frame on his strike fill. So that is correct now. The score I gave you that he needed 121 was, in fact, the exact score he needed, and that's what he got with that last pin. 257 beats Dennis Shute for second place by 1 pin. So for the fourth week in a row, Rich Lotti and Bob Mazur will both advance. Dennis Shute and John Plante come up just short, but all 4 bowlers are still in it here for the final skin, worth $75, and Rich Lotti will start us for that here, as we still have to decide this final skin of the day. So Rich Lotti has, in fact, now, Dan, set a record. He'll make his 6th straight appearance here on Candlepin Skins next week. Look at that. Almost. Dennis Shute now. Another near strike.
Remember, if we have another carryover, only the bowlers that created the tie will carry over.
There's a spare for Rich Lotti.
Will that wood rest against both the 4 and the 8? I believe it will carry it, as long as he's above the red line.
Got it. So Dennis Shute is still alive. Now John Plante and Bob Mazur will step up if somebody throws a strike. If only one person throws a strike, it'll be over. Well, the low men on the money pole right now are John Plante and Bob Mazur. The guy's up there right now. So if one of them throws a strike, no, it's not John.
Well, you need to convert it to stay in the game, though.
Bob Mazur can't, and look at the fill, the leave rather, the 5-6.
I heard somebody say, uh-oh, like it was going to be a strike.
Oh, John just missed on the spare. So John is out. Bob Mazur will have to make a miraculous shot here to stay in. He does not, so now we'll have Rich Lotti and Dennis Shute go up. They are the only 2 still eligible. The fills are inconsequential, of course, now because we're not keeping total pinfall, so it's just these 2 guys to decide the $75 skin.
There they go. Come on.
Wow, everything but the 10 pin for Dennis. Rich Lotti. Oof. Well, now let's watch this because Rich has a roadblock there in front of his possible spare. Dennis converts his. Now can Rich do the same? Yes! They will switch lanes and keep going. They'll switch lanes now and keep going for a 3rd sudden death box. We're trying to decide this last $75 skin here on Candlepin Skins. Oh, another great first ball by Rich Lotti.
Strike will do it.
Uh-oh, advantage Rich Lotti right now. Even if he doesn't make the spare. And he does, making it very difficult on Dennis Shute here. This is going to be a terrific shot if he can make it. Oh, how about that? He almost made it, but Rich Lotti, well, let's wait here. The wood is still rolling, but it's not going to be hard enough against that 2-pin. Rich Lotti wins the last $75 skin. Great match here on Candlepin Skins. We'll be back to wrap it up in a minute. Welcome back to the Londonderry Bowling Center. Here's the total pinfall, and we promise this score is right. Rich Lotti, 262. Bob Mazur, 257. Just edging out Dennis Shute, who finishes 3rd at 256, and John Plante at 228. But once again, Dan, a terrific matchup, and here is the way the money situation straightened away. Rich Lotti again finishing on top there with $175. Dennis Shute with $105. John and Bob with $60 each. But how about the run here two runs we had by Rich Lotti and by Bob Mazur. They've been paired together now for 4 weeks, and they've advanced 4 weeks together, and Rich Lotti now has set a record. He's going to make it 6 weeks in a row next week.
They probably advanced as long as I had the wrong score on the scoreboard, and that's a long time, that last game. But they did some great bowling, and that's why they're back, and that's the name of the game. You still can't lose the concept of Candlepin bowling.
All right, don't forget, tomorrow at noon here on the Winds of New England from Park Place Lanes in Wyndham, it'll be Bob Kelly and Tom Morgan for our series championship on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Next Saturday at noon, we're back on Candlepin Skins. It'll be Bob Kelly, or Bob Mazur, Rich Lotti, and 2 new bowlers joining them to see if they can break that streak. Until then, for Dan Murphy and the whole crew, the hour is over, yes indeed, and we're all pretty thrilled about it, but we'll see you tomorrow here on Stars and Stripes. Take care, everybody.